Hello, everyone. Andrew Taylor here. Today we have Chris Caseraz and Shawns Ruggiero with us.
Can you make the jet fly over again?
I know. Factory Fresh, you got to find that. So this is an important one because we've been talking about advanced market sales for agents that are doing well. Can you tell us a little bit about your schedule and your background and how the AMS team has helped you and how other people can utilize that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew I was going to be on travel for including today, 9 out of the next 10 days. So packed the schedule with anywhere between 10 to 13 appointments 5 days this past week. So saw quite a bit of families, had more reschedules and cancellations than I would to have liked, obviously. So that's what really took it over that mark. With that particular client, which is where it's a really good plug at all levels. Obviously, he had a good amount of assets, but build wasn't there, health wasn't there, just worked, and he planned on, due to his health, he wants to retire inside like the next 3 to 5 years, and he said due to what's got a certain little thing going on right now, it may be even inside of 2. So with leveraging one of our FIA products.
Which one?
The Athene Performance Elite Plus 15.
Dude, Athene is the best.
Indeed.
Yeah, and Performance Elite's the best. 1 year. Is that better?
Yeah,
perfect.
Thank you.
So with that particular client, right, due to what he's got going on health-wise, it may be inside of 2 years. So taking care of there, and then with the growth over the next 8, 10, 12, 15. Yeah, they want to pay off the house they have a 15-year. They really want to pay it off inside of 7. This will kind of help them do that because they don't plan on using these funds unless they absolutely have to when he's forced kind of into retirement and start taking a withdrawal. So, and you'd be happy to know, you talked about on a podcast before, just mentioning that I do retirement income planning and asset preservation. They're like, well, I know you're here for mortgage protection, but we'd like to hear about that because we got a bunch of accounts we'd like to consolidate. The appointment opened up like that.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get good at this?
Studying. YouTube University, Google, right? So that's always intrigued me. I used to be a finance manager, director, did a lot of spreadsheets and reports and got loans
that's
bought
with
and
cars?
structured. Yeah. I came from the car industry of about 13 years. So, yeah, structuring deals, getting creative with that. So that to me is they're very similar. And, it just intrigued me. So I still study till this day. My wife would tell you on the flight over here, about 3 hours, and I have probably 8 pages of notes on my tablet. That's all I do every day. Just trying to be a better version of me, as well as pick up more knowledge. So what I did is I just studied, whether it be YouTube University or Google, basically any possible place somebody can put their money.
Now, he's obviously the best trainer. You agree with that?
100%.
He's the best trainer in annuities, in IULs, and advanced markets in the country.
Yep, I do agree. A lot of AMS Live was huge for me. When we talk about YouTube University, that was the first place I went, and then I branched out. Right, yeah. So you and your team and Bridget and Kim and all them, y'all have always been there for me if I need anything. I mean, the other day I called him. I was on the road in between appointments about a client. He's like, "Yeah, you need to send over an illustration." I had it like 20 minutes later. Right, so yeah, you guys you always have my back, and I appreciate that. No, we're buying another house next year, but I put a ton of money back into this business to build it. So I'll up the staff again. Just got off the line with the team that I'm working with, new marketing campaign. So I'm going heavy back into that.
Growing pains, tweaking, adjusting.
Yeah.
Chris, let me ask you something, because there are going to be people who listen to this and they think, well, he has a finance background. He's very confident. Hell, what he said sounded so good, and I can't even repeat that, so I'm not going to get started. One of the analogies I like to give is, let's say you're a pitcher, okay? And you can throw a fastball and a slider, right? And those 2 pitches can get you to play college ball, can get you drafted. But then you can spend the rest of your career only throwing those 2 pitches. No, you're going to add other pitches. Can you rewind a little bit more? Yeah, you have a finance background, but when you first started to where you are now, how did you go through those first appointments? Because I'm sure there was some stumbling.
Yeah, the first one I ever wrote. So here's the deal, and I think you've talked about this on training before. Writing them is easy because the concept of taking risk out of their, a certain portion of their portfolio forever, right, due to market involvement, that part's easy.
Getting them issued.
No break. There you go. It's sweetheart of a lady. she kind of ghosted me after it got approved. Everything was good, and we're trying, I'm trying to get the money, right? And as far as getting it transferred over, and it needed to be inked, right? It needed actual physical ink signature. It was like 3-4 weeks went by. She had cashed all the money out, spent it, and it was qualified funds too. Like, yeah,
Yeah, which means she gets taxed on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Unless she finds a way to replace it within 60 days.
oh yeah, she took it and paid off like credit cards and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So, then my first two took way longer to get funded than should have because I had to learn that part of the process. And then after you're doing it, I lost count of how many I've done, and that's not like I'm not taking that kind of angle on that. It's just like life business, same thing, right? You go from starting out, and some people do out of the gate crush it, but and the way I explain it to some people I'll talk to is that I can position an FIA and have the client feel the same need for the product, like they have to have life insurance because they're protecting themselves and their family and their loved ones, right? With the life insurance, I mean that's the money they worked all their life to save up.
We were talking about that earlier. It's much more emotional than you think.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. People who are new to this idea, we're asking questions. We have a podcast talking about that. Just ask a question. Do you have anything that acts like insurance? Is it protected? That's what you're talking about. We specialize in protection, retirement planning. And if they say no, the performance lead is simple to understand because it eliminates fees, it eliminates market loss, and it allows you to participate. We're in Las Vegas, so I got to share this one analogy. Who here has won a lot of money at the table? You were there when Matt and I got crushed. Like I won't even say it on. So we're in Las Vegas, okay?
Yeah.
That feeling of losing money when you were up, that's a sick feeling. It wasn't that, I could have made $100 more. That's the addiction part. It's that feeling. So we're coming to that table and saying, whoa, take a look at what you've got here. How long did you have to sit in this smoke-infested environment, stressing out, watching those cards flip over, watching chips get taken away, push back the stress of doubling down, and to get that pile of chips? What if I offered you the ability that no matter what you bet from now on, worst case it's a push, but you'll never lose any of your chips? You can still participate. You get half the bet, right? Let's say half bet. Isn't that kind of what we do when you make it visceral?
That you did. I use it all the time.
The blackjack one?
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
How good is the feeling
training.
when you actually do leave and you're up, though, too?
Oh, it's the best feeling in the world. The problem is it leads to gambling again.
That's probably why they're there.
That's where the analogy is split, yes.
Last time I was here, I don't think I noticed the USB chargers on the slot machines.
Right.
So she don't move.
USB,
Genius.
drinks, food.
That was genius. Yeah. So to the blackjack analogy and about the loss part, I just make the math make sense. And something I don't know if I learned this somewhere. I just did it myself because I'm it is such a very simple product. So, I just say, hey, listen, 100% of your funds that you have set aside is 100% of what you got, 100%, right? That's 100% of our money. So when you reach the phase of retirement or RMDs and you're having to take 4-5%, then you got a 1 or 2% broker fee, and then a 10% market correction. You can lose 16 to 17% of your 100% in a year. Mm-hmm. How many times can it happen before you don't have much left or any?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's very easy math for a client to do in their head.
Yeah,
very easy. And it settles in well with them, and they start listening a bit more. So that, and then the blackjack thing, that makes it easy.
Yeah,
it just makes it make sense.
Now you're not just. The important thing though is you still do mortgage protection.
Oh yeah,
final expense.
I run all mortgage personally. I get enough mailers at this point, and just upped them again as we talked about. That there's enough to fill a schedule because I do still get a lot of senior mortgage, so we can fill the first half of the day. Listen, you might have to call through more, right? But the thing about those is that if we are year, 2 years, 5 years, so if they answer the phone, remember the form. It was handwritten. They still will remember it.
And they probably filled out like 10 of them.
And they probably sat with agents before.
They probably refinanced and got them again more recently.
Yep. So if they answer the phone, and it's been years, and they say, yep, I remember doing that, and they book an appointment with you, that when I go to one of those, I said, so it's been a bit. I'm looking at the form. It's been a bit. How many agents been here? And one of them was like 2. Like the second I asked that. So I said, perfect. So now do you have anything in place? And they went, no. The prices were outrageous. Because the other two agents showed them $700-800 a month payments. And we're looking at covering a portion of the mortgage, like equity protection at a slightly higher level. But yeah, those age ones are if they book the appointment, let you over, they've either been through it before or they know they need it, and their health has changed, so they know they could possibly not qualify. And if you tell them, I broker for a bunch of different companies, I can pretty much get you done somewhere at some level.
But do you remember when we did that? We tested doing seminars.
Yeah.
Let's see if you remember this part, okay?
I remember.
So we mail out a whole bunch of mailers to buy everybody dinner and teach them about retirement.
Yeah.
In my hometown, Victorville, California.
Yep. We were at a country club. And a bunch of people showed up, and someone had told me about these certain type of people that are referenced as plate lickers. That they just show up for the food.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So these two ladies come in. There's a bunch of people there. I have no idea what I'm doing. You kind of teed me up to do the presentation or help me with it.
Yeah.
But right before I'm getting ready to do a presentation, these two ladies high-fived because the food came out. And then I was like, oh, that's weird. And then one of them in front of everybody goes, hey, do you work at Wendy's? And I'm like, what? She's like, you look just like the guy in the drive-thru at Wendy's. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to ask people to trust me with their money.
I wonder if I work at Wendy's.
I go, no. And she's like, what about Target? Do you work at Target? And I'm like, no, I do this. That's why you're here.
I do remember about 4 people fell asleep when Paul was up there. Not against Paul. Paul's a great orator, right? It got a little long for them. They ate their food and they fell asleep. So seminars they didn't work out as well for us because there's an intimacy to a lead. And there's a hurdle. Why is the turnover high in this industry across the board? I shouldn't name carriers, but X, Y, Z, captive carrier, independent carrier, turnover is very high because it's not for everyone.
Of course.
But when you get someone, and Sean Mike talks about a lot, that you show them you care, don't treat that as, well, this is a final expense lead. I'm going to sell you a final expense product. This is a person lead. I'm going to help this person. And when you do that, you're optimizing it. You just have to ask the right questions.
Of course. So I had a couple different points my mind shifted. And here recently. So here's the deal about what we do. Like you said, it's not for everybody. And see, when I say I study every day and I have for years, I've worked on myself every day for over 10 years. And I think that's where a lot of people lack. So where their faults come in or how they approach this business or clients or life is because they haven't addressed everything they need to with themselves, right? So with this opportunity here, we deal with people. You do not have to be a good salesperson. You just have to be a genuine, honest person. Because when I go in the home, there's no flip charts. I tell them there's no flip charts. I have no PowerPoints. We're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to figure out how to best help you protect your family. And we just get into it. I mean, that's not the whole way I set the table, but you don't have to be a salesperson. They just want somebody they can trust. We have the companies. You have all the products. Just have a conversation. Like we're having now, how comfortable we are, this is how my appointments go.
So someone said to me that the way you think a client is going to feel is the way you feel. Do you feel like that's true?
100%.
So if you think that someone's going to say no and do all these things, that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
You can speak or think things into existence for sure.
Well, and some of that is preparation. Sorry to cut you off, but you brought up a really good point that hits home with me. First appointment I ever sat that I was writing something. I didn't go through the application ahead of time. It just didn't occur to me. So I'm reading these questions. I can't pronounce the things. I don't know what I'm asking, and I'm stressed out. So they were stressed out.
Yep.
Right? And that's preparation. And I remember training agents, I mean, we've been doing this for years, Andrew, right? Like I'm recruiting a new agent, I'm bringing them on. And I would now say, make sure you do an app on yourself so you are comfortable with the app. See, there are going to be some people listening to this, and they say, Kaz, he's he's good at this, right? He had a finance background. I'm repeating myself. I get it, but don't let that intimidate you.
No.
Listen to this podcast.
Finance has nothing to do with FIAs.
No.
Just so everybody understands, because you said nothing to do. I learned everything from scratch like everybody else. I messed a lot up, but I took every shot I could.
But a desire to get better every single time.
Every time.
And if you want to be successful, you have to put that forward. Andrew, you know how many people I sent you? Did you get your box of books yet? Okay, I sent you a box of books of my new book, 7 Benefits of FIAs for Retirement. Okay, give them to agents. I want them to have them. But you and I both know, if I give 100 of those books out, 12 will get read.
Less probably. Check this out. This dude came in here and said he gave everyone on his team a book with $100 bill on like page 20 inside of it.
Yep.
Right? No one's ever, and he knows if they read the book,
Yeah.
they'd get that money and call him and go, dude, you put $100 bill in here?
That's genius.
Yep. Yeah.
And guess how many read? 0.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And I believe that, Chris, you would get the $100 bill because you'd get to page 20.
Absolutely.
And so my point, don't let anything because Chris speaks well, okay? And you're looking at 10 years of reform,
Yeah.
being where you were in this career to where you are now, correcting things like we all have been.
All this will tell you a story about that. I wasn't very polished and clean.
Yeah.
So
well,
even better.
It took
Exactly.
Exactly. It took
exactly
a decade plus.
because no one gave it to you, right?
Yep.
And that's funny because Hale and I were talking about that too. Like where you come from oftentimes is a driver to where you'll go. And if you're used to having things, right, like Atlas is going to have a tougher time finding the motivation.
We were just
I'm being
talking
totally
about
frank.
that.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Compared to Andrew.
How
right?
yeah.
So my point being, if you're listening to this and you say, "Oh, I want," then get to page 20.
Yeah.
You know, everything he's saying. Then go on YouTube, watch a video, take 1 hour a week and make it your study time. Right? Email me your physical address, info@fflams.com. I'll mail you a copy of the book for free. Read it. Right? So, anyways, Chris, I like hearing what you're saying, and I want people to know that shouldn't intimidate them.
No, because every bit of knowledge that I've gained in regards to FIAs or IULs, it's completely learned.
Yeah.
So sought out, and it's like when I'm getting ready in the morning and in between appointments, if I'm not on the phone with one of my partners, there's a training on. Is your podcast on, or I'll give you an example here real quick. But go ahead, Andrew.
So there's while you're pulling that up, let's see this.
Yep.
On the way here, I was listening more about the Athene products to make sure I had every single thing down.
Okay. But there's a difference between somebody that's learning and what we call a success zombie. A success zombie is someone that reads, gets on all the trainings, cheers for everyone else, and never puts any action behind it at all.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you're getting just enough information to be able to apply it, but keeping all of your activity up? Because, dude, that's a big problem.
That's the same thing as like we were talking about football before this thing went live, is that you can know the whole playbook, but if you never hit the field, because the plays, yes, they're structured and designed a certain way, but they're not going to go that way. A very small percentage of the time. So you can study all you want to, but until you're in the field and you have to make the pivots in the home and learn the proper word tracks and be able to read the client. I know what client I can say certain things with and what I can't, right? So like, but that's after
Experience.
I mean, I've been doing, and y'all been in it way longer than me, but I did the math of 200 calls minimally Monday, Thursday. I've been in for about 2.5 years, like 40,000 plus phone calls, right? Thousands of appointments over that course of time. Applied knowledge as well as, online knowledge or audiobook. Now it's hundreds and hundreds, if not, it's probably thousands of hours. So no, I had zero knowledge when I came in. So for anybody watching this, I learned it all, sought it out, and then refine, practice the word tracks and practice like the blackjack thing at the table, delivering that correctly. I have probably 55 hours of live trainings recorded since I've been a part of this company, and that I have them sectioned off and they're named. And I've listened to some of them probably in between 50 to 100 times because of the word track. I wanted to make sure I had it perfect.
Yeah.
So
You
I'm
listen
just
to
that
those in the
very-
car when you're driving, or
Yeah, or when I'm around the house or whatever. I have a little Bluetooth earpiece about like this big. So she gets on my wife. I say that because my wife's here. Yeah,
We should've got her on.
Yeah.
she'll be here tomorrow. I talked to her into coming on. But anyways, I have a little earpiece, so she'll be talking sometimes, and I'll be like, what'd you say, babe? Because I'm listening to a training in my ear, right? And that makes it sound like this is all I do, but no. So like this was a work trip, and I brought her because I wanted to spend time with her, right? We're not going to be recording podcast. I'll be here for 2.5 days. We're not recording the whole time. So it's some us time, right? We have 3 kids, and you might know, you might not know, but I've been with my wife since we were 14.
nice. Good
Right,
for
so,
you.
yeah, love my life, amazing. Our relationship's incredible. So as much as scheduled on like this past week, like when I do, 10, 12, 13 appointments, plus the live Zoom trainings that I host with the team, with the live dials and all the good stuff. I mean, I have like 80 hours booked into my schedule a week of field and Zoom training with the team. And then my family gets every bit of the rest of it. So I didn't know. I wasn't always that structured with this schedule. So now that I am, yeah, life's a lot better. I enjoy it, even working as much. But see, again, studying people, studying how our minds work chemically and all that good stuff, they call it a helper's high. Okay, so when you give or when you serve with no ill will behind it, it's truly from your heart, our body releases endorphins and serotonin, which lowers our cortisol levels, which is our stress chemical, right? So if you approach this with the correct mindset, you can live in happiness and bliss all the time, be on that helper's
And
high.
you're high,
Chemically, you
or actually high.
yes, chemically,
I like
you're in
that.
a better place.
It's pretty
But
cool.
that's why I say you can only be there if you are real with yourself about whatever issues you have. And this is stemming outside of the work, it's just whatever issues you have in your life that you haven't dealt with, right? If you have money problems and all that good stuff, it's your mindset and your heart's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
That's why I say you don't have to be good at sales. You just have to be a genuine person. If you don't put yourself first, you put the clients first, they'll literally feel that. Just like, when we talk about the vibe we get from somebody. When somebody is happy, again, chemically, I don't know that you know, but our bodies emit a certain, can't think of the proper word, but let's just say aroma when we're happy. Like there's a chemical.
Pheromone?
Pheromone, there you go. A pheromone when we're happy. That's why you can't help but be happy around somebody. It's literal chemicals.
So you can actually feel, if an agent comes over,
Yep.
you can feel like an energy,
Yep.
or there's some
Who did we go to lunch with? What was his name over time? The gentleman from San Antonio?
ETE.
Yeah, he's got good pheromones.
He does.
He made me happy. Yeah.
Well, he smiles all the
Smiles.
time. So
Dig into that.
I read
Seriously,
that-
Start digging into some of that.
have
It's
you read
crazy.
that Jordan Peterson book, The 12 Rules of Life? The very first chapter, which is why we have a lobster painted on in that mural. There's a lobster in there. No one ever notices it, but sometimes people will go, dude, why is there a lobster in the middle of this mural? We put a bunch of stuff in there that no one could ever really know, but there's meaning behind everything, right? Well, in that book, it talks about lobsters, how territorial they can be, and it references the title of the chapter is called "Walk with Your Shoulders Back," maybe something like that.
Sure.
I don't remember exactly, but the point was if you're confident and you're walking with your head high and your shoulders back, you're winning before you even have to do anything else. Because the example was 2 lobsters can meet, right? And there's like 4 phases of them fighting. So the first one is like a chemical comes out of them that tells the other one how confident the other one is. So it's just like, yo, this dude better go away because this dude's so confident he knows, right? Now let's say they're both evenly matched. Then they go to the next phase of like battle, which is like, I think maybe they smack each other with one of their antennas or something. And one of them will go, oh shoot, I'm going to go away. That one has that safe place to live. Like that's what they're looking for. Territory, land, safe places to live in the ocean. If they both are evenly matched, then like they do one more thing, and if they're matched again, then they fight to the death. Okay. Now the interesting thing about the whole thing was if the lobster won, then the odds of it losing another fight are really low because it will never get to that second level because
it carries over the confidence.
because it carries over the confidence. And if it loses, it's most likely going to lose or not even fight again, right?
It's funny to hear that lobsters have self-esteem.
Exactly.
That's what that
Basically,
is.
lobsters
That's
have
exactly
self-esteem.
what that is.
But the whole point of it was that you don't have to. The whole point of it to me was that success is compounding. So if you can start to get little wins, then they're all compounding into bigger and bigger wins with more and more and more confidence. So you starting off really low, starting off brand new, you're slowly getting better.
Yeah.
And that goes to Chris's point, not just for your own success, but other people's success.
Yeah, absolutely.
That creates it too.
Yeah.
It's what's on your tombstone, right? Go out there and find a tombstone that says this person has X amount of zeros in their bank account. This person drove this car. This person had this many jets. That'd be a stupid tombstone. It wouldn't make any sense, and no one would ever do that. It's how many people you helped. And so we can translate that on a daily basis. And when you're talking about it, I hear that, Chris, in two ways. One, and this is key, the customer, the client. You're going out there with a servant's heart. That's huge. That makes it way less stressful, doesn't it, Andrew? Right?
Way.
And I tell them while I set the table, I tell them, listen, I had no flip charts, no PowerPoints, nothing. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to say I can help you protect your family.
And if I can't.
So, no. Because then I say, hold on. You got me there. All right. So we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to, we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to help you figure out how we can best protect your family. So I need you to relax. We're going to have a little fun. Okay. Really, I just need to earn your trust. Right. And that's pretty much about it because I got over 100 different products in the top carriers in the country. So the process is after I run through some basic medical with you, since there's no pyramid exams, no peeing in a cup, no peeing in a cup, and no blood work, ask you some basic health questions, some financial questions as well, because I need to know what that looks like. And if it's a couple, I'll say on both sides if either of you die first. And once I do that, I'm going to go over the features of the product that I think you have the highest chance of qualifying for. Then you're going to select a level of coverage that makes sense inside your budget. 90% of my clients don't go with the level of coverage they have in mind or full mortgage coverage, which is releasing the pressure off of them to think they got to cover it all when we get to that point. So then you're going to select the level of coverage that makes sense to you, and we're going to submit an application to the carrier because ultimately they're the ones who get to say yay or nay to helping you protect your family. So I tell them, relax.
Yeah.
We're going to have a little fun. Just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I'll literally sit back and I have a relatively nice car for the positioning, right, for the posture, like the first level of the lobster thing. I show up, suit, tie sometimes, maybe not. I look like a financial advisor, right, so I already take that position.
You do.
Every client answers every question I ask them. I do not get pushback because of that posture.
What does a financial planner look like?
I mean, normally when you go into
Or
one of the big
advisor.
brokerages, they're dressed to the nines essentially, or at least slacks, button up, right, long sleeve button up with at least a tie. If not, they're full suited. You know, they got the Porsche out front.
That's
or
how you
whatever.
dress.
So yeah.
Hey, Chris, if that doesn't work, then do you fight them to the death?
Phase 4.
slap them with the antler, right? Or the antenna. Antler.
Phase 4.
But yeah, going out with a servant's heart, they can tell the
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely.
And
it makes it easier for you.
here's the thing about cortisone levels, right? Chemically, if I feel like I have to, and I'll tell them, I do this about 12, 13 times a day. I don't come in to have like this little jousting match with you because I will probably die an early death and probably have a heart attack because I do this 5 days a week. So we're talking about possibly 60 households and being stressed out in each one.
That line is so good.
Yeah.
But I literally vocalize because it's true. It's 100% true. So that's why I can deliver it that way because I don't want to. That's what makes agents quit this.
Can I
They have the
start
wrong
saying that to
perspective.
agents?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's coming in with the wrong perspective in the heart in the wrong place. And I was there, though. I was there. Just like y'all talk about, I want to quit this several times, even when I was doing, right?
But you
so
weren't focused on the
everything's
money. You were focused on helping.
There you go.
How mu-
Everything's changed.
How much better do you guys think you get just from seeing more people without any training?
Oh, you're just speeding up the inevitable if you're going to stay in this anyways. You can either run, 40 appointments a week or 40 appointments a month. It's going to be probably the same
You're
numbers.
still
You're
gonna
just
learn
speeding
though,
it up.
right?
Yeah, you're just speeding up the no shows and the cancellations or the whatever. You're just getting hit with it all faster, but you're learning faster too.
Chris, I have two things for you. Yep. Tell me how much time we have left because these are just questions.
We got as much time as we want.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So be expeditious.
Got it.
First one, I want to rewind this a little bit. How do you find annuity money in the home? What question or questions do you ask?
So the name of my agency, because I fell in love with that side of the business, is FFL Asset Protection. So that's pretty clear right up front. So when I roll through the credibility sheet where it says mortgage protection, I tell them to do mortgage protection, all forms of your traditional life insurance. Now, mortgage protection comes with some additional features that were essentially designed to protect the homeowner, but I'll explain that to you here in a minute, Shawn. So my specialty is actually retirement income planning and asset preservation. So that's already like planting that seed. You get down, and it says it right on the financial inventory. Do you have anything else that would offset the mortgage? Right? Or you can ask it, do you have anything else that would serve as life insurance? However you want to word it, just ask the question. If they have funds, how comfortable are you with loss? There's a lot of stuff you can ask. Two ways, just depends on whatever comes out of my mouth at that point. One of them's right on the sheet. Do you have anything else that would help offset the mortgage? Yeah. The other one is, do you have anything else that would act like life insurance in the event of your death? And I kind of add on a little bit and say that would, if there's a couple, I say that would be transferable from you to Mary.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only two ways. And then we just get into talking depending on where the funds are at.
So my second question, and you referred to this, is this audio only or is this video also?
This is video, bro.
Yeah, it's both.
So when I was in the depths of my drunk and druggedness and lived in downtown Oakland on 16th and Franklin,
Okay.
and although you don't speak like someone from there, this is a long time ago. Oakland's actually really nice now.
Yeah.
You look like it, right? On the sleeves there. So there's a little story behind that. You had mentioned something briefly. Are you comfortable sharing with us?
Yeah, not a problem. Just, my dad left when I was 4. Not looking for any sympathy from anybody. Kind of popped out of my life throughout. So it was just me and my mom. My mom's been cutting hair. My mom's been cutting hair for longer than I've been alive. She owns a salon and stuff. But that's where I got my work ethic, because she'd be 8, 10 hours, 12 hours a day. And I either came home by myself, had to kind of learn to cook, clean by myself, that whole ordeal. And when I was younger, though, I'd get out of school and I'd go, one of her friends would come take me, drop me off at her salon, and I'd do my homework and sleep on the couch in the lobby until she was done. I once I turned into a teenager, I lost my mind and just hanging with all the wrong people, out in the neighborhood. So that's pretty much it, just being around the wrong people. Probably got every tattoo I have inside of like a year and a half. Right. So once I got the first one, I just kept going right back. And it's sad to see that, probably I just turned 35. So 19 years, 18 years, some of those people and doing that same thing.
Yeah.
But I always knew it was a way of acting out as a child. That was pretty much it, because she was working all the time. And me and my mother are super close at this point. Like me, her, my wife, kids, we go out to brunch or lunch or something twice a week. Building the business, like you take care of your mom and Shawn takes care of his mom. That's happening because, she's almost 40 years into cutting hair, and her, hands and feet and all that. It's almost time. So whether it has to be off my back or whether it's via overrides and find a position for her in the agency, I want her to cut hair because she wants to, right?
Yeah.
And the clients that she wants to serve. So I gave her hell from the age of probably 12 to 19.
Yeah.
Right. So that was this phase, and that was overcompensating as a man, which we all have done at some point in time. Of like, I'm the toughest guy on the, whatever. I got in a lot of fights and stuff back in the day, and not anything to be proud of, but always feeling like I had to prove myself, and not honestly until as of recently, I had carried that, and now I don't. I'm in an awesome place.
How'd you
right
do
now.
that though? Because you also have good vibes. Like,
I'm in such a good. 6 months ago, you probably wouldn't say the same thing. I wasn't enjoying my quality of life. recruiting for my benefit instead of the new agent's benefit, right? Just knowing I want a better quality of life, and I've buried. I won't let this one get too deep, but I buried 4 family members this year, and one of them was pretty much like my dad, and yeah, that was a really rough day, really rough day, and it brought me into a place of realizing I literally don't know how much he wasn't. He was 14 years older than me right now. I don't know how much time I have left. So the impact I've always talked about making on the world and changing lives, but God, how selfish and bullheaded and egotistical I was, right? So I had to take a step back and look at myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't really do that until probably a couple months ago. Just look at everything.
Yeah.
How blessed I am at home with the wife and kids and stuff, right? So it just put me in a better place across the board. So when you run 13 appointments a day, because you got to forget what happened at the last appointment. When you're 12, 13 a day, it's got to be gone in minutes as soon as, before you get to the next house, because that is unfair to the next family. Because if it went good and you're like, I don't care if you get anything, or if it went bad and you carry your attitude in, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But sorry,
I think there's a good lesson there that I'm happy we're talking about this, because you're 35. I'm 10 years older, but I saw a lot of evolution. Yeah, I share some of this stuff with you, Andrew, offline. A lot of evolution in these last 10 years. Someone told me once, you don't know shit or you don't know anything till you're 40. I was like, well, that seems so weird. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't know anything till I was 40. Yeah, I mean, 35, 36, you start to learn some stuff and apply it. And we look so much if we're getting beat up in the field, or we're tired when we come home because the kids, it's next week, next Sunday, whatever it is. And there was a speech Martin Luther King gave. He was in, not Birmingham, that was the buses, but he was helping sanitation workers in a town in Alabama. I think it was Selma. Forgive me if I'm wrong with that. But here was his point. He gave the analogy of what would happen to me if I go and help. I'm going to miss out on work. I could get fired. I could get arrested. I could get beaten by the police. And he kept looking at it, right? And when I was depressed, when I was going through that stuff, that's all I focused on. He says, you're looking at it the wrong way. It's not what will happen to you if you do it. It's what will happen to them if you don't.
correct. Yeah.
And so you start seeing it differently. What will happen to Atlas if I'm just too tired again? You know what I'm saying? What will happen to your 3 kids?
Yeah.
Right? What will happen to that client if you just treat them like the last 3 people did that sat in their home? Right? And so I think I'm sharing that with you. I think that's something that changes something that could have some turmoil, some curveballs, and change it into a positive thing that helps you exude such positivity that you have. So I commend you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. There is obviously, depression on a chemical level, but there's also self-induced depression by continuously letting yourself down. And all the promises you make to yourself inside your own head about all the things you're going to do and you don't do them and you know you're not. And then
we were just talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
You're actually telling yourself you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. And then you get to an appointment. You're like, this ain't going to work. I didn't make my bed. I said I was going to. I didn't get up at 4. I said I was going to. I didn't eat good. I ate pizza. I was supposed to eat really healthy. Go to this appointment. They're probably going to say no. They give you some pushback. All right, see you later. This sucks. Leads suck. This sucks.
Yeah.
Everything sucks. Everybody sucks.
Yeah. Like I said, when we kind of first started this, is that it's not the business, it's not the leads, it's not the family. It's just you need to dig deeper in yourself. Because I'm in a place like I leave it all on the table at every appointment, and it can get exhausting. But I have more energy at the end of the day than I've ever had, and I'm running more points than I ever have. So it's all about perspective. But yeah, if you're not where you need to be, you're going to carry that to your team, to the clients, to everything. I don't care how big a smile you try to put on your face. I don't care if you do put on a suit. Like I put on a suit and tie unfortunately, because the world as it is today. If I don't, I'll be sitting with a client. I'll watch them going like this while I'm trying to talk to them. I'm like, hey, I'm right here, right? So I ran a couple tests with that, and huge difference. So now I'm just doesn't matter the weather. It's it has to happen. I got to cover these. So, but yeah. That's you're struggling with this. You need to look at your whole life and figure out where it's lacking and where the other issues are, so you can be in a better place within yourself, because that makes this job easy. Because we're just going out and serving people. They need it. So we have all the carriers, all the product. Like, you're the issue, as Sean says.
Hey, I got a question for both of you guys. What are some ways to avoid negativity for you guys? Do you guys do anything that helps you not go down a negative path, or stay positive, or not be depressed, or anything like that?
You want to take it, Sean?
For me, it's very simple. I got to exercise. And I know that's not the answer you're probably looking for, but to me, that's very important. I got to exercise. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get back into that for sure.
What's your exercise look like?
Monday through Thursday, it's weights and cardio, right? So boxing once a week, weightlifting, basketball, and then Friday I go for a hike. Like the hikes are always probably the best, and I'm sharing this with you. You know, people won't be able to see it, but
Try a ripped up shirt off.
I know, dude. Have you seen him with his shirt off?
But can you see this? So this is 6,000 feet up, and now you're getting on shale. You're having to walk on
Yeah.
and you can't hear, but I'm breathing hard. The stuff you have to invest a lot of time for just to get to the top. That stuff does a lot for me, and then just kids, right?
Yeah.
And never tell them no within reason. Like, can I have
Of course,
a
yeah.
popsicle? No, right? You know, but
See, that's one of the most basic examples of pushing past the limiting fears and the
It's a
I want
hike.
to do this hike today.
Dude,
Just doing
hikes are tricky though, because they sound fun. You go get the gear and it looks cool.
Yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
cool watch,
Yeah.
and then you get like halfway up there. You're like, "Yo, this is hiking."
yeah, how much more of this do I have
Yeah.
to endure?
Dude, so the funny story, I went on this super long hike, was not in shape at all. My friend goes, "You want to go on like a 15-mile backpacking trip?"
long, yeah.
The first day, 15 miles.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like dying on the way up there, and every person coming down, okay? And I had never hiked with gear on my back either.
Oh, and you had gear.
And I had gear, yeah.
Okay.
I had a tent. I didn't know how to put it together. Nothing, bro. Didn't know how the sleeping bag worked. Nothing. It was freezing cold up there. Dude, so every person coming down the mountain, I'd go, "Hey, how much further to Blue Lake?" They're like, like 30 minutes. Dude, like 2 hours later, someone come by, "Hey, how much further to Blue Lake?" They'll be like, "Oh, it's just like right up there." So going downhill is different for
Yeah.
sure. And then the next guy comes down, "Dude, where's Blue Lake at?" And he goes, "Oh, it's right up around the corner." And I was like, "Dude, hikers are liars." That's what I said. And
funny.
everybody with us was like referencing hikers are liars the
That's
whole
so
time.
funny.
We finally got there, dude. I slept like a baby in the middle of nowhere in the woods.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's taxing on your body for sure.
Yeah.
So with me, we beat ourselves up. Again, we beat ourselves up, enough ourselves inside of our own mind that I just no longer allow anybody else to do that. Because it's all the time and right now, I'm going through it with a certain group of people. Lies, slander, whatever. I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah.
100% okay with that, because as long as it doesn't affect my business and cash flow, which is because I do have an office and employees and their families, right? My executive assistant, who's incredible, Chantilly, she's getting ready to have her baby in November. My family, right? Our financial well-being, how I'm able to provide for them. As long as it doesn't mess with those things, or obviously hurt anybody inside my family, they're words. They're just words, right? So if we're talking about from that perspective, we're talking about with a client, same thing. The way I set the table, and if they say, no, I'm just getting quotes. All right, here's my new favorite thing to say to them is, I'm sorry, they didn't tell me you were just looking for quotes. Here's what I'll do. Let me look at the calendar. What day are you normally home? Because what I have them do is I'll have them send out the quote guy. Just make sure you have like at least about an hour and a half. I mean, sometimes it can be 2. They have this weird flip chart thing. I don't like doing it. It's really weird. But so what time do you normally get off that you can spare about hour and a half, 2 hours, so they can run you through all the companies and all this? And they're like, no. We'll just do this. It's fine. right? So I'm not sitting there for that. Why? They're either serious about it or they're not. Either way, I'm indifferent. I want to help them. But if they're not ready for the help and I'm not the right agent, another thing is I do not throw away a lead. I have a lead tell me no, right? And I just say it that way because people are like, oh my God, you close so much business. I don't close everybody. But that doesn't mean the family doesn't still need protection. So I will take those. There's a certain cubby in my desk that all my agents that come in the office and my partners, just to say, they know that cubby is, they told me no, whether in the home or on the phone or whatever. Because just because of my emotions, I'm not going to throw the lead away. It's unfair. It's unfair to the family. I apparently wasn't the right one. God did not intend me to help them. But that doesn't mean nobody can't help them, right? So, anyways, go ahead.
So back to the question, his is exercise. Any tips for you?
Every day I'm listening to something to do with like life coaching or success coaching or mindset stuff. And I truly, because of what's happened in the way of death in my family this year, I am just thankful to be here. Right? So if you can't, car business for 13 years, high stress levels, working almost the same hours, but stressed the whole time and having to watch my back the whole time. I live that, and it sucks. Like what it does to your body, your mindset. If you have no energy when you come home, people try to seek balance, and balance means things are equal, right? So working family, spending equal time, equal effort, equal set. That doesn't exist. So you can't be balanced, but you can be perfectly imbalanced, right? Because the time you spend with your family or whoever is important to you, it can be like truly quality time, dialed in. They're all that matters at that moment, fully focused in the moment. Mm-hmm. So that couple hours can feel like 10. So you can have a perfect imbalance, but I'm just so thankful to just be here, due to what I have witnessed this year when it comes to death. So, yeah,
it's huge.
It is.
Now, what you're saying about balance and imbalance is important because I could spend, every evening home with my kids. We talked about this earlier, and I could not be there because I'm worried about money, finances. So I'm actually there, but I'm not there, right? Or I could come home and I went 100% at work. I got great results, and I could be 100% there with Atlas, paying attention to him, watching him draw. He's just started scribbling with crayons, but we're still hanging up all the pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying there. Yeah, like, if you're always 50-50 in everything, then you're never truly there.
I don't know if it's taboo to talk about because of what we do. The calls are shorter when I am on quality family time. If you're at a table, I got you, right? If you're not, we'll probably talk tomorrow, okay? If I'm with my family, it's during that quality time. Because too often, we could spend time looking at reports and looking at whatever, texting it, and I try not to as much as I can while I'm with my wife, while I'm with my family. But I'm there for every agent when they need me. My essential movers who are always on the go and looking to, turn this into something incredible for their family. I don't miss a call or text from them, period. But yeah, again, being in the moment, it makes a big, big, big difference because I can come from running 10, 12 appointments a day. I might be dead dog tired physically, but my wife wants to go to dinner because that's where I was going to take her to dinner. So while I'm at dinner, I'm like this on my phone. Yeah, babe, just order whatever you want. She's like, oh, you're still working. I ain't paying attention to me, are you? Mm-hmm. Right? So she feels slighted in a way, and that can completely just contaminate your relationship.
You wouldn't do that to a client. You wouldn't sit down and say, so Andrew, we're gonna talk about, hold on real quick. Take a call. You wouldn't do that with a client.
No.
So don't do it with your spouse.
But
or kids, they have their time,
whatever,
or the kids, right?
Hey,
exactly.
Can you talk about what you told me about your kids?
Yeah, which part of it?
About being tired, but how important it is. You make sure you pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Even if you're super tired. You said like 80% of the time you do it.
Yeah, exactly. And so similar to what you're talking about, if we're focused on ourselves, that's a downward spiral. If you're tired and you focus on it, you'll become more tired. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, we all fall victim to that. You're going to feel more sorry for yourself. So the best way to not feel sorry for yourself is not focus on yourself. And so I was telling Andrew, I was saying, you're getting to the age, talking about the coloring and things of that nature. Andrew just recently went on a trip. I think you all hit 4 meetings in one day, right?
4 meetings in one day.
Now, I don't know if you understand space-time relativity, but when you're with Sean Mike,
oh my goodness, yeah.
time goes faster, right? It speeds up. So you not only have to do 4 meetings one day, you have to do it with Sean Mike. And so there's very few things that are as exhausting as that. That's said with a lot of love, okay? Yeah. And so Andrew comes home, and it's how do I receive? I was given the example of my daughter who had this this time capsule she made, right? How do I receive that? Because every ounce of me wants to say, baby, can I see it tomorrow? And if I did that once, she'd probably be fine with it, but it becomes a habit, right? And so I'm going to keep a score, and I got to pay attention and just make her the focus. And that has such a big return on investment for that child, right?
Yeah, there was a success coach that I listened to, and we have to realize that those people who are important in our life, especially if they're like direct, like spouse, kids, etc., they're watching and listening to everything, and they're your biggest fan. So they have your back 100%, and when you do those kind of things to them, right, it's kind of just chipping at them. Maybe I wouldn't say so much love, but their loyalty and commitment to being your biggest cheerleader. Yeah. If just those little moments of daddy's home and they're so happy and like, and I'm like, I'm tired. What's up? Yeah. It's just like, it's like popping a balloon.
Yeah.
Immediate deflation.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Dude, you know how many, because I'm thinking of my short time as a dad, thinking of a few times I've done that, Yeah.
Well, if it bugs you, that means you're wired correctly.
Yes. Yeah, but the I think the big lesson here is,
like, I have an 18-year-old. Okay, me and my wife started young. We're still working at things every single day. I hug him now more than I ever have.
Yeah. Now the big lesson though is you guys are good with your schedule at work, so you're not, if you're 50% at work, you're thinking about work when you're not working, because you were only 50% in.
Yep.
But if you cram your schedule right with the right things and get these done, you can free up more time and space in your brain to focus on other things. Yeah?
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I'm probably 70-30, 70% work, 30% family. But hear me out. If I do that 70% correctly, and I set an example for my 17-year-old boy, for my 13-year-old boy, for my 10-year-old boy, for my 9-year-old daughter, then what I'm showing them also counts. And I think that's important too, especially if I can then turn and say, okay, I did all that, so now I can pay attention to you, and then you commit to that.
Here's the deal: you can't give. I have to make this make sense. You can't give 100% to everything, but when you're in that moment, you can give 100% to that thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they see. My parent.
I haven't always been good about that. That's why I'm being open about. I'm constantly working. Again, if you're not growing, you're dying, and that applies to your business, your marriage, your relationship with the kids. Right? If you're not growing, you're dying. So if it's not always a work in progress, it's gonna falter at some point, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That was it. You guys, it's got 100% all the time. I'm thinking of just Sunday. I broke into a tirade, F-bombs, right? About the dishes, right? And you think, well, that's such a terrible thing. And my wife says, was that really necessary? I said, hey, at least they know I'm 100% about everything. I'm 100% pissed, 100% lying. Was that like 100%? I eat my green beans 100% of the time, and 100% don't like it. Yeah,
that's funny.
But no, you're right. You can't give 100% to everything, but when you're doing that, focus on it. Give it 100% of your attention.
Yeah. All right. So if somebody wanted to work with you, obviously you know what you're doing. You're building a team. I'm going to say 2 things right now because one's important. Mm-hmm. if you work with FFL, we all work together. I've had people call me and go, I have to work with that guy that was on the podcast because I'm currently working with this dude. And I'm like, we all work together. We all help each other. If somebody's not working with Family First Life and they're interested, they're watching this, they relate to you, maybe they have a car background, whatever, similar to you in some way, how can they reach you?
Well, I'll put this out there is, again, what we do is once you got it, you got it. We're just out helping. We're people helping people, like Sean talks about all the time. This is the stuff I'm more trained with my team is mindset and but yeah, my direct line, which I didn't think I was going to give it out, but I will, 757-372-1634. Or you can send a email in that I share with my assistant because, again, I do run a lot of appointments. So I'll back out of the field when that time comes. But it is FFLAP, so applepaul.processing@gmail.com. And she handles pretty much everything to deal with that. So
Cool. Well, thank you both for coming in.
Thanks, Anthony.
You guys are awesome.
Chris, good to see you.
I appreciate you